free world.
Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so weak. Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the money mover. Snuff the hater, snuff the player, snuff your hairline.
Welcome to Hail to the Culture. We are back as always. It is your boy Rome here with my man Bryce.
Yo.
We're gonna jump right into it, man. The 2020 draft is complete, and we also had the E60 special come out on Alex Smith, man. That's what we're gonna get into today. But let's kick it off with that draft recap. As we all know, number 99, Chase Young, is officially a Washington Redskin. Bryce, how hype are you?
Oh, man, I'm hype, bro. I'm hype. I've been watching all the hype videos. I downloaded the Photoshop pic with him in the number 99 jersey. I don't think I could be any more hype. Great pick. I mean, yeah, it was the easy pick. Say what you want, you know what I mean? But at the same time, Redskins have had some easy decisions in the past and swung and missed, so it's good to see that we letting the easy ones come to us now, So I couldn't be more excited. So, I mean, that's just my feeling before we really get into his game. That's just my feeling off the top.
Yeah, man, my initial feeling is overjoyed, man. I can't believe it's we got Chase Young. He is gonna be a Hall of Fame type player, man. Right off the bat, I really believe that. I'm going big, man. I think he's gonna have double-digit sacks first year, and I think you can already pin it in as Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think a guy like Jeff Okudah could push him, but I think Chase Young is gonna go off in the NFC East. I think he is gonna have a monster rookie season, man. That's my hype level for Chase Young right now. But let's break down the X's and O's, man, because as we all know, you get into the college tape real heavy. So what are we really getting from Chase Young on the field wise?
Oh man, he getting a ton from Chase Young. Off the bat, you're getting a guy that's well coached. If you haven't done any research on the coaching pipeline. The pipeline of guys that the coaching staff at Ohio State's been sending to the NFL on the defensive line, then you've been sleeping under a rock. But I think the coach's name is Larry Allen, and Chase comes from that same tutelage. It's guys like the Bosa's, and he uses that same technique, and it's been successful for them in the NFL. So you can expect it to be successful for Chase. I think that off the bat we're getting a guy that's going to have to be accounted for as far as rushing the passer goes. He's not an elite. I wouldn't call him an elite edge bender at this point, but the guy's got moves on top of moves. He's got instinctive counter moves. He can beat you on the inside. He can beat you with the outside rush. He's tenacious. He's got a solid motor. I mean, the guy makes tackles all the way down the field. And another thing he brings is he's stout in the run game. He's going to set a hard edge. He's gonna make plays in the backfield, tackle TFLs against the running backs. So I mean, overall, we're getting the guy that you just can't pass on if you're the Washington Redskins. A generational talent, if you ask me. To me, the guy he most reminds me of is kind of like a Myles Garrett almost. I guess Myles Garrett mixed with Jadeveon Clowney's type of player. He's big, but I do think he's more athletic than both of those guys. And I don't think he might not be as explosive as Jadeveon Clowney, but I really do think he's even more athletic. He's even more flexible on the edge. So I'm expecting big things, man. I think 16.5 sacks his final year in college. I'm penciling him in for double digits as a rookie.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. For everything you just stated, and then when you add the fact that he's coming into a Jack Del Rio defense with Ron Rivera as the head coach, it is tailor-made for him to become the next Von Miller of this league. I mean, Chase Young is going to become a household name. We're going to see him in commercials, the whole nine. He's going to be the face of the franchise, man. I really can see him becoming that. That's how big of a player that he can become for the Washington Redskins. But there's a few other players drafted. Let's not make this all about Chase Young. We didn't have a second-round pick, but we did have a third-round pick, and in the third round, we selected Antonio Gibson. So what were your thoughts on the Antonio Gibson pick, man? I know a lot of fans weren't really feeling that pick initially. My initial thoughts were that a playmaker is a playmaker, and that's what I see when I see Antonio Gibson. But what are your thoughts, Bryce?
Oh, man, I love the pick. I think when you're talking first, second-round guys, you want guys that can come in and play immediately. And I think when you go for third-round guys, you're looking for guys that have the potential to do that same thing. So maybe sometimes with a third-round guy, you're not reaching, but you're going on what you see him, what you could see him as. And I think that this guy Gibson has the potential to come in and have an instant impact on the football team. I mean, he scored touchdowns on 25% of his plays in college. That's ridiculous. I mean, he can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He came to the running back position late in college due to injuries at Memphis. And, I mean, once the coaches realized what they had, I mean, he was playing the final 3 games at running back, or final 4 or 5 games, actually. I mean, he posted numbers of 130 on the ground. He had one game where he had like 130 on the ground and 100 in the air. So this guy's a threat, man. He's a threat to take it to the house anytime. And if you're 228 and you're running under 4.4, you're running in the 4.3s at 228 pounds, that's something that people don't want to see in the open field. You know, that's just he's gonna be a threat to break tackles, take it to the house every time. I can't wait to see it, man. The coaching staff's comparing him to Christian McCaffrey already, so they're high on him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention, man, is that Christian McCaffrey role. Obviously, Scott Turner and Ron Rivera coming from Carolina where they had Christian McCaffrey. So to get a guy that fits that mold, whether he has the talent level or not, is a very big deal. I think is going to be exciting. I also want to mention what he could do on special teams, man. He could be our kick returner, punt returner. I know Steve Sims has that spot currently, but Gibson to me, man, he's just the kind of guy. You get the ball in his hands no matter what position you put him at. It don't matter where you put him. You just need him with the ball in space. But let's keep it pushing and jump to the 4th round where we picked up an extra pick due to the Trent Williams trade to San Francisco. We picked up an extra pick this year and also a 3rd-round pick for next year. But the first 4th-round pick was Shadiq Charles out of LSU, the tackle. And this is presumably going to be Trent Williams' replacement, although there will be a little bit of competition at that spot. But what are your thoughts on Charles coming in and potentially being our starting left tackle?
Man, I love Charles' game. I mean, to me, he was a first-round quality talent. I think what dropped him down so much was the fact that he's got off-the-field concerns. I mean, there's actually some comparisons there to Trent Williams because Charles had multiple failed marijuana tests. To me, that's not a huge deal, especially with the new CBA, where essentially you get no time off, you get no fines for failed tests when it comes to marijuana. So I feel like Charles, man, this could be a diamond in the rough. This could be similar to La'el Collins when the Cowboys nabbed him late, and he had some funny business surrounding him, ended up being garbage. So, I mean, this could be something similar. You know, that little problem in the NFL won't mean anything. And although teams docking for it, this could be a real steal because I'm telling you, man, we're getting a guy in the 4th round that definitely had first-round talent and was a starter in his last year at left tackle, had other years starting at left guard, and 2 years starting at left tackle and 1 year starting at left guard and left tackle. So, I mean, this is a guy that's proven in the SEC, and I really think the Redskins got to steal with him, and I would not be surprised if he ends up being our starter this year.
Definitely, man. I'm not going to disagree with you totally. I just want to keep perspective on all of it. First of all, like I could care less about, you know, a guy smoking weed. You know, they've changed the CBA like you mentioned. And, I mean, if we're being honest, it's 2020. There's probably people who are going to listen to our podcast while they're smoking weed. Let's just be real. So I could care less about that. But as far as the on the field goes, as far as keeping it in perspective, we lost Trent Williams, man. Trent Williams was an all-pro. He was our best player for 10 years. And as good as Charles could possibly be, it's probably not even really gonna scratch the surface of what Trent was. So, I mean, it's a good pick, and I think he could potentially be our starter and be solid, but it's a downgrade as far as what we could have had things worked out better for Trent, which is no fault of Ron or any of the guys here now, but it is what it is, and I think it's a solid pick given the situation.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
I mean, I agree.
Jump into the second, fourth-round pick. We drafted another wide receiver, Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty, man. Bryce, what are your thoughts on this pick? This is a very interesting pick.
Oh man, I love this pick. We're gonna be trying to find our threat next to McLaurin now. We know we've got one in McLaurin, and don't get me wrong, I like Kelvin Harvin a ton. He had a good rookie season considering, but he didn't solidify himself the way McLaurin did. So we can't be sure we have that go-to guy at that number 2 receiver spot. So we got to start throwing darts at the wall, and I feel like that's what we did with Gandy Golden. I think that he's clearly a smart guy. If you do any research on him, you know he's got a ton of off the field talent. So the question is, will that type of work ethic translate to the NFL? Seems like it could, and if it does, I think we can get a special player. We're talking about over 1,300 yards his final year at Liberty, and two years of great production. So I like Gandy Golden a lot, and I think he could become a special player. It's starting to get crowded in that young receiving room now, and it'll be interesting to see where he fits in, considering that we've got guys like Harmon still fighting for that number 2 spot.
Yeah, man, I think it is getting real crowded in that wide receiver room, and it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of it, man. Because now that we're adding Gandy to the mix, you got Sims, you got Harmon, obviously Terry's going to be our guy, but there's a couple guys that could fit in that Z wide receiver role, and Gandy is definitely one of them. He had a lot of production in college, man, those last 2 seasons. I believe he had back-to-back seasons with 10 touchdowns or more. So that's pretty impressive. It'll be interesting to see how it translates to the NFL against tougher coverage. I know Harmon had a bit of a struggle his rookie year and came on a little bit late and made some really nice plays down the stretch. So we'll see. I think Gandy, at best, man, this first season, he'll probably push Harmon. I think all this competition will make the wide receiver room better as a whole. So I really like this pick, man. It's a very interesting pick, and I think it will only help. But yeah, let's keep going, man. The next pick in the 5th round, we picked up a center, Keith Ismail, man. What did you think about this pick? I don't know. I remember on the Sports for the Culture show, you said you really liked the first half of the Redskins draft. Now we're getting to the back half of it, man. So how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I think Keith Ismail's to me he's a developmental prospect, but I think he fits the scheme that we're moving to. Under Scott Turner, we're going to be running the zone blocking scheme again. And if you guys remember the zone scheme, that's what we used to run when we had Shanahan. And those were some of our best running years. I mean, those are some of our most memorable years in the last 10 years, but it's also some of the best rushing totals we've had in the last 2 decades, honestly. So, I'm definitely happy to see that scheme come back. And remember, with that scheme, you're looking for agile linemen. You're not looking for the big, strong maulers. You're looking for the guys that can get upfield in a hurry, got a quick first step and can surprise surprise defensive linemen, creating holes for your back to choose from. Now, a guy like Ishmael's not going to pop out at you on tape, which he doesn't, because he's not a real mauler. But what he is, he's a mover. He can move guys. He can move guys a little bit. He knows how to move. He knows how to use his legs. He knows how to latch on and move guys just enough to create lanes. And he's quick to the punch as well. So I see some potential there. I'm not necessarily expecting him to come in and be a starter for us, but if he can come in and be a reliable backup, 5th-round pick, I'll take that.
Yeah, this pick to me is it's not a bad pick. It's kind of filling a need. It also lets me know that the left guard position just isn't very valued apparently by any coaches, because it wasn't very valued by the last regime. At least it didn't feel that way to me. It doesn't feel like anything is changing now. Because if you look at the current state of the Redskins offensive line, we know what the right side is going to look like. We know who our starting center is going to be. But Ismail could potentially be competing for a starting spot as a left guard. Will he get it? I can't really see him being a 5th-round starter as a rookie. We do have Wes Martin also in that spot, but nothing is going to be given. So I don't know, man. It fills the need because we definitely need more interior offensive linemen to compete. So it kind of reminds me of the previous pick where you're just getting guys in there, like you mentioned, throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticks, who comes out of these competitions. So we'll see how this young man does. But now let's go ahead to the second fifth-round pick, where we picked a linebacker out of Michigan, Khaleke Hudson. So what were your thoughts on this pick, man? Because we do need some linebackers. This is another pick where it makes a little sense based off need.
Yeah, facts. And before the draft popped off at the Combine and his pre-draft interviews, Ron Rivera harped on the fact that he's looking for versatility as he adds players to the roster. And especially with the last 4 picks, I think that's what you really saw. Khaleke Hudson is a versatile guy. He can play the inside linebacker. He can play the outside linebacker. He's even got experience playing safety. So I expect him to come in and be competing for that Shaq Thompson role in the Carolina Panthers defense. You know, that linebacker, that off linebacker, that he's blitzing sometimes, he's covering sometimes. You know, maybe sometimes he's rushing with his hand down. You just never really know. You know, that jack linebacker, that jack of all trade linebacker. I think that's the position we could see him competing for, because that's important in Ron Rivera's defense, and he's going to try to find that guy. And Khaleke Hudson could be that guy, you know, but we shall see.
Yeah, man, I kind of feel the same way. He definitely fits that mold of that special safety linebacker breed. But how well will he be in the NFL? That's yet to see. Well, I will say this: I like what Rivera and them are doing. They're getting guys that they want, their guys. So you can never really say too much about a late round pick, because you get, like I always say about the draft, it's not when you're picked, it's where you're picked to. So if they're getting guys that they believe in and they think fits their scheme and they can work with and can coach up, then these picks could all become Hall of Famers. You never really know. So, I mean, time will tell, but, I mean, if I'm being honest, some of these picks weren't my favorite picks either. So let's go ahead and jump to the last 2 picks in the 7th round, man. We picked the safety out of Arkansas, my man Kareem Curl, and the edge rusher out of North Carolina State, James Smith-Williams, man. So what were your thoughts on these final 2 picks? Are these guys that are going to be competing like these other guys? Or do you think they'll have trouble making the roster come cut time?
Well, Cameron Curl was my favorite of the late round picks. I like him a ton, man. I think Curl's got the potential to compete down the line for a strong safety starting role in the NFL. He's a 4-year starter, if I'm correct, 3 or 4 year starter at Arkansas, and he's a hard hitter, which I like. You know, he brings the pain when he tackles. He's got good instincts. He plays the ball well. He's got experience playing corner and safety. So, you know, you're getting a guy with good cover skills, and you could come in and see him even playing that third safety role, because that's another thing that Rivera and Del Rio are gonna be doing a lot of. Kind of have a third safety to kind of play that linebacker hybrid. Sometimes it might be a bigger linebacker playing that hybrid role. Sometimes it'll be more of a safety linebacker playing that role. And I can see Cameron Curl fitting into that, too. You're talking about a guy that had 24 reps on the bench press at the Combine. That's a ton for a safety. That is a ton. That's linemen. There's some linemen that are hitting that. So I like Cameron Curl a lot, and he was definitely my favorite pick of the last 4.
Yeah, man. Once again, I'm going to agree with you. Cameron Curl is exactly who I was talking about when I say, you know, right place, right time kind of thing. It's about where you go, not when you go. I think he is a perfect fit for Del Rio and Ron Rivera and what they're going to be trying to do. And he's actually my sleeper. I think he will definitely make the team. I kind of queued that up. But yeah, I think he will definitely make the team. Not only that, I think he will end up being one of the draft picks that gets the most playing time, surprisingly, over some of these other guys that we just talked about. I honestly believe in Cameron Curl. But yeah, man, let's keep it pushing, man, because the other night, man, it finally came out, and I personally have been waiting for this for a long time. I don't know how much of it you got to catch the other night, Bryce, but they released the E60 Project 11 on Alex Smith, man, and as we all know, on that fateful day of November 18th, 2018, is actually the first year that we came to you guys as a Health to the Culture podcast. And Alex Smith broke his leg, his fibula, and all that. So let's relive that, man. Let's take it back, man. Like, Bryce, what do you remember from that initial time when Alex Smith broke his leg against the Texans?
Yeah, man, you're right, man. We were just getting started, weren't we? Pretty much. So yeah, man,
we're like
it's
6
great.
pods in.
Yeah, man, it's crazy to think how fast time flies, man. Because now, I mean, we're on our 40th. Well, I think maybe we're all close to our 40th episode. But it's crazy, man. It's the entire situation is just nuts. I mean, Alex Smith, seeing some of those images that resulted, and just first of all, before I even get into that, taking myself back, starting with what you said, taking myself back to that moment, man. I think we were just in shock. I don't think in that moment we realized just how bad it was. I think in that moment we were optimistic still, not only about Alex Smith but about the season, about what could happen after. I don't think we saw the implode that was headed our way. But man, I just remember being just like sad, like damn, as soon as we get something good, I mean, we're off to maybe 6-3, I think. And it's like, damn, not again. It's always got to be something. It just felt like always got to be something, And it was a tough time, man. It was a tough time, even when it first happened. But I still don't think at the moment, I don't think we really realized the magnitude of the injury.
Yeah, man, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, the magnitude of the injury was huge. It was astronomical. Obviously for Alex Smith as a person, but just to tie it back to the franchise for 1 second, I mean, look, I don't know if we deserved Alex Smith as Redskins fans, man. Like, if you really think about it, since his injury, we haven't been nearly as good. We've won 4 games since Alex Smith broke his leg. We had won 6 games with him with no broken leg. We haven't even gotten to the same amount of wins since he's been gone, man. Like, Alex Smith was literally, if you think about it, was holding this franchise together by a thread. When he went out, everything crumbled. Jay's gone. Bruce is gone. We had to revamp everything. We had to draft a whole new quarterback. Everything is completely different. Alex Smith was literally holding this franchise together. And after watching Project 11, man, I just feel like he's a classy human being, man. Like, he's a great man. And we're gonna get into more of what happened here as we go along. But yeah, going back to the initial break, I remember watching it with my son. I was at like a big gathering, a big little, how before COVID, where we were allowed to all be together with friends and families. I was at a big little football party, and I just remember everybody, and there was at least 20, 30 people who were just shocked, man. We were rewinding it on the TVs, and just no one could believe it, especially considering Joe Theismann. It was, I believe, 30 years to the day that Joe Theismann had broke his leg, and Lawrence Taylor. So, I mean, the similarities to it all, it was just crazy. And I just remember, as a Redskin fan, it was a very shocking and, like, infamous day. Like, it's a day I'll probably never forget as a Redskin fan. That was my initial thoughts on when it first happened.
Yeah. But, same here, man. Same here.
Watching Project 11, man, and seeing what this man went through and where he's at now, it lets you know how tough Alex Smith really is, man. Like, they did a great job chronicling his career from being the first-round draft pick, struggling with the 49ers, finally getting good, everything's going well, and then boom, you know who, our man, Colin Kaepernick, comes in and takes his spot, man. Like, it was, and then, he was never salty. He worked with them. He was happy for him. He actually said it's absurd that he's not currently in the league, So Alex Smith was a stand-up guy in that situation, gets traded to Kansas City. And then what happens? Boom. The MVP, the man, the Super Bowl winner, Pat Mahomes, takes his spot. What does Alex Smith do? Another classy move, supports Pat before Pat even gets the snap, Alex Smith has his best season ever, leading the league in a bunch of stats, and then gets traded to Washington and has this horrible break after he was literally holding our franchise together. If you haven't seen the Project 11, man, I encourage you all to watch it as Redskins fan. Really, as any sports fan, I would encourage this. It was a great watch, man. Bryce, I don't know how much of it. I remember you said you didn't get to catch too much of it, man. But from what you saw, man, like, what was your takeaway?
Yeah, it was. It's crazy, man. Just tracking his progress through from when the injury happened to now. It's truly amazing how hard he's fought to get to this point. The willpower, man, to even just have his leg right now, you know. Because some of those images, they're very gruesome. They're very gruesome, and you know it's definitely not for the weak stomach to even look at some of them. This guy's leg was completely gone. Pieces of his leg were being cut off daily, and it's just to see the images, man, and to know that this guy, even after that, this guy's thought is still, can he play football again? I mean, the level of determination and just he's never going to quit. That's one thing you know about Alex Smith. He's always going to put the best foot forward. He's never going to quit. And you know, if you don't love 11 after watching that, man, you're not a Redskins fan. You're damn sure not a football fan, because that it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's definitely crazy to think about where he came from and where he's at now, man. And we're definitely going to keep up with what happens with Alex Smith, because obviously he's still on the team. He's still under contract. He's still in the QB room. Dwayne Haskins sent out a tweet saying how much he's been working with Alex and how much Alex has helped him and all that. So it's a great thing to see, man. You love to see things like this. It makes me happy to be a Redskins fan to see something positive like this.
Yeah, for sure, man. It looks like something good will come out of it, whether it's Alex Smith and the Redskins front office, Redskins coaching staff. Alex Smith deserves to be revered by this organization for what he put on the line for us. And he'll always have that from me, and I think he'll always have that from Redskins fans. You know, we're as Redskins fans, one thing I'll say is we're a classy bunch of individuals, especially when it comes to our own. And I know Alex Smith will always be revered when it comes to Redskins Nation.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And with that, man, we're going to send our best wishes to Alex Smith on his road to recovery. We will definitely continue to chronicle that, as we said. And if you haven't already, you definitely need to go to your app store or whatever it is that you download your apps on and get the Gas Sports app. If you've missed the first 2 episodes of Sports for the Culture, they are on there now on all platforms. Bryce, is there anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Nah, man, I think you hit just about everything. Last thing, though, is definitely follow us on Twitter at HTTR Culture, and definitely follow, you know, the home team, Gas Sports for the Culture, at Good Ass Sports, just like it sounds. And we here, man. It's the takeover.
As always, hell to the culture.
Hell to the culture.
Be moving and shaking to stay out the streets. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so weak. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the streets. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the money mover. Snuff the hater, snuff the player, snuff your hairline, tape up and shape up. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the